So, like I say, the phony war's over, Henrik. This is not sometime never over the rainbow. Now we are facing it.
Yeah.
We need to have backbone and not to acquiesce and not to allow ourselves to be intimidated into acquiescence.
Absolutely, and you mentioned that when people are inoculated, they get the vaccines, and of course they target certain groups in society, like the police, for instance, up here, medical personnel, obviously, but also government employees, people in general who are among many other people in society, so to speak. And that's a danger here, that it could spread in that way. How about in regards to natural remedies? I've heard, various sources that you can, through natural means, resist this regular flu. But if it is indeed made in a laboratory, does that mean that does that mean that it's more dangerous than anything else out there? Could it mean that will actually, people will get affected and get this disease or the flu?
Well, there's a lot of speculation going on, and of course the answer to that, if you're being definite, is we don't know. But you can look at the situation that we're faced with and make some pretty good judgments. First of all, when over the years people in the know on the inside have spoken out about this, often in situations that they thought was, quote, safe, but there were people in the vicinity that heard who've passed it on. One consistent theme has been laboratory-created viruses and vaccines to cull the population. And, when you look at the writings of think tanks, Illuminati family network think tanks like the Project for the New American Century, where they actually talked in their document in 2000, which predicted 9/11, by the way, magnificently, as anyone who've read that document will see, because they knew it was coming. They talk about creating bioweapons, in effect, that target specific genotypes. So this is where we're at. I mean, the Nazis were playing at it compared with these people, who are actually were the force behind the Nazis anyway.
Yep.
And for sure, they want to reduce the population. Now, if you want to do that, and you don't want the cause of it, at least initially, to be identified, so that people will say no to the cause, vaccinations, etc., then what you do is you target the immune system. It's like with AIDS. People don't die of AIDS. They die of AIDS-related diseases, as they call them, because of a shot immune system, which then opens them up to a range of things that would normally have been dealt with when the immune system was healthy and sharp. And this is why there is a war on the human immune system. There is a war electromagnetically and through the microwaves of mobile phones, etc. There's a war through chemical additives in food and drink and water. A war through pharmaceutical drugs, through vaccinations overwhelmingly, because it's a simple thing. I mean, if people just take a step back, take a breath and look at it, right? Don't get too close to it. Look at it dispassionately. Look at it logically. Even before this whole so-called swine flu situation arose, we're still giving around 25 and growing vaccinations to children before the age of 2, when their immune system is still forming, when their brains are still forming. And while that's happening, this tidal wave of poison is being injected into them individually and through cocktails of vaccines like the MMR. And just let's think about it, with a bit of logic. What the heck do you think that's going to do when a still emerging immune system gets that kind of treatment? Of course, what you're doing is you're devastating the true efficiency, power, and effectiveness of the immune system for life. Yeah. And that's the idea. And this swine flu situation is an add-on to that. It's another layer, another level of it. And they have created the virus They put the virus out, and now they're using that as the excuse for a mass vaccination. Now, if you look at it again dispassionately, let's keep calm and look at this calmly. First of all, the virus was supposed to have broken out on a pig farm in Mexico. Okay, I asked you this. Where's the pigs? Where's the pigs now? No one's talking about pigs. It's swine flu. Why isn't there a panic about pigs? Apart from the idiotic Egyptian government who culled the pigs in Egypt immediately after this outbreak in Mexico, no one's talking about pigs. The World Health Organization has said there's no need to slaughter pigs because they're not a danger to people. Yeah. Well, if in that case, Henrick, how did it break out on a pig farm in Mexico? Because it didn't. It broke out in a laboratory in the United States. Then you have this ludicrous lie that the World Health Organization and pharmaceutical companies, all controlled in the end by the same people, like Novartis in Switzerland, Baxter International in Illinois, and SmithKline Beecham and all the rest of it, or GlaxoSmithKline they call it now. I can't keep up with all these bloody mergers that they keep having. GlaxoSmithKline is called now. And what you're looking at is a situation where we were told that those companies and the World Health Organization set out after the outbreak in Mexico in April to find a vaccine for this virus. Then you find that the first application for the patent for the vaccine by Novartis was in 2005, came through in the first months of this year. The Baxter International at least put their patent application in August 2008. Further research seems to point to 2007 now. And so it's all been long planned, and it's playing out now. We had a situation, and still have, but there's not, the swine flu numbers have stabilized and indeed have been falling rapidly in recent weeks. But we had a situation where the government said that people with swine flu symptoms should no longer go to the doctor. Instead, they set up call centers. And these call centers were manned by people that had a few hours training, including 16-year-olds who knew nothing about what they were doing. And people were told to ring this number and give these totally incompetent people, in terms of what they were supposed to be doing, their symptoms. And what did these people do who didn't know their backside from their elbow in terms of medicine? They said, incredibly, "You've got swine flu." Yeah. Hello caller, what you got? Oh, yeah, you got swine flu. And so it goes on. Yeah. And then what they did is send this Tamiflu stuff, this rubbish, gives children nightmares around in response. Now, the reason that I tell you this story is not only because it's ludicrous what happened, but the contracts for those call centers and the organization of those call centers were in train before the swine flu broke out, they tell us, in Mexico in April. So this is, all you've got to do is keep connecting the dots and look at the time scale, and you find very clearly that all this has been planned a long, long time. And then you ask the question, why? Why? I mean, are these pharmaceutical companies and the World Health Organization, are they having some kind of psychic trial? I mean, whether they can psychically predict that this swine flu is going to break out in April 2009, so they'll get the patents. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous. What they're doing, they've done, is bring this forward because, quite simply, they want access to every human body on planet Earth. Now, why do they do that? Why do they want that? Because it's nothing to do with protecting us. It's nothing to do with swine flu, clearly, because all this was in train before we ever heard of swine flu in Mexico. So there's another reason, and that reason is they want to cull the population. They want to insert mass microchipping, nanotechnology microchipping, which can externally allow the manipulation of us mentally, emotionally, and physically on a body computer level. and to take people out from a distance through what they call the death chip and what have you, which they have the ability to do.